were taken immediately for a debriefing, and I often accompanied the two debriefing officers. For me, it was a revelation to see their different reactions. Some returned with their nerves absolutely shattered, in shreds. Their hands were shaking uncontrollably as they lit cigarette after cigarette. Others were as cool as cucumbers, and I realized then that we all have a breaking point, and we can never know until we're faced with the situation what that breaking point actually is. Perhaps that is why departing agents were strongly urged, if arrested by the Gestapo, to take the cyanide pill, which was always hidden somewhere around their person before they left. It would kill them within 2 minutes. I grew up attending those debriefing sessions. Many of those agents weren't very much older than I. Hearing their incredible stories, witnessing their courage, their total dedication, I changed almost overnight from a teenager to a woman. One snowy Saturday evening in early February, I was told that I was to leave and go down to Beaulieu. Now, Beaulieu was the last of the many secret training schools. These training schools were dotted all over England, and the future agents attended each one in turn during their long, tough 6-month training. Beaulieu, or Group B, as it was called, was in Hampshire, deep in the New Forest. Only 6 women worked there during the war, and I am the last survivor. We were used as decoys. We worked in the neighboring seaside towns of Bournemouth and Southampton. My pitch was usually Bournemouth. It was there that we taught future agents how to follow someone, find out where they were going, who they were seeing, without being detected, how to detect if someone were following them and throw them off, how to pass messages without any sign of recognition or even moving our lips. This took place on the beach, in the park, on benches in the town, in telephone booths, and in the tea rooms above the Gaumont Cinema. The last exercise was reserved for those future agents whom the instructors thought might talk. Now the instructors were with them all the time. They watched their every movement. They analyzed it all. And if they thought that they might talk, they would have a carefully prearranged setup meeting between a decoy and a future agent in one of the 2 grand hotels in Bournemouth. Of course, if I had taken part in the earlier exercises, I couldn't take part in that one because they would know me, and then one of the other women took over. The meeting would take place in the bar or the lounge, followed by an intimate dinner tete-a-tete. It was our job to get them to talk, to betray themselves, in fact. The Brits didn't talk much. Foreigners sometimes did, especially young ones. Oh, I understood. They were lonely. They were far from their homes and their families. They didn't even know if they would have a home, or even a country, to go back to once the war was over. And it was flattering to have a young girl hanging on their every word. Before they were returned to London, at the end of their month in Beaulieu, and it was in London, in their country section, that their fate would be decided. Each one had an interview with our commandant, Colonel Woolrich. We called him Woolly Bags behind his back. He had all the reports from the different training schools, and he made his final report that went back to London and carried a lot of weight. Now, if they had talked, during the interview, a door would open and I, or another decoy, would walk in. Woolly Bags would say, "Do you know this woman?" And they would realize they'd been tricked. On the eve of my 19th birthday, I fell madly, hopelessly in love with an agent. He was one of our best agents, a crack. He'd just returned from a very successful second mission, and he was adulated. He was a legend in the section. I'd heard all about him, but I never